Now, you may have seen yesterday that the polling group PPP, Public Policy Polling, they had a whole bunch of new polls out in swing states. And that swing state polling that they released last night, it basically looked terrible for Donald Trump. Again, these are the polls that came out last night from PPP. They polled 6 swing states: Arizona, Iowa, New Hampshire, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And in 5 of those 6 swing states, Hillary Clinton is beating Donald Trump. Only in Arizona did they find a Trump lead. Last night's PPP poll in Arizona had Donald Trump up by 4 points in Arizona, but even that is pretty good news for Clinton. Reasonably speaking, Arizona maybe shouldn't even be considered a swing state. President Obama lost the state of Arizona twice, each time by 9 points. It's a very red state in presidential politics. So Hillary Clinton being down by 4 in Arizona, while she is simultaneously leading in Pennsylvania and Ohio and Iowa and New Hampshire and Wisconsin, that is pretty good for the Democrats right now. So PPP's swing state polls came out last night. You may have seen those when those came out last night. But PPP has also done a new national poll in the presidential race, which we have got exclusively right now, and we are about to debut. You have not seen these numbers anywhere else. And these new national numbers from PPP, they are okay for Hillary Clinton, but they're not great. Nationally, the top line results when they ask, generally speaking, if the election for president was today, would you vote for the Democratic or Republican candidate? Nationally, the top line result is that Hillary Clinton is ahead in that top line question by just 1 point, 45 to 44%. Now, if you make it a little more complicated, if you add in minor party candidate choices from the Libertarian Party and the Green Party, then Clinton's lead over Trump nationwide grows from 1 point to 4 points. She leads him 45 to 41 as long as the Libertarian and Green Party candidates are included as well. So big picture, any lead is better than no lead, but a lead this small, 1 point head-to-head, 4 points if you include Jill Stein and Gary Johnson, that is a lead that is so small that it may be worrying for the Clinton camp. So again, we're debuting these numbers right now. This is the first time this data is being publicly released. This new data from PPP, this new national poll, will of course be compared this evening with the other most recent national poll that just came out a few hours ago. Fox News has a poll which just came out tonight, and that national head-to-head poll is better news for Hillary Clinton. It shows her up over Donald Trump by 6 points. Here's the great thing, though, about having a first look at polling data specifically from PPP, as we do tonight, because PPP is sort of eccentric is not the right word. Out of the box. That's the right phrase. They're not afraid to think outside the box. That's the way we'll put it. PPP is the polling company that is most likely to ask burning, if weird, questions that real people actually talk about and actually worry about, even if no other pollster wants to go there. For example, I know quite a few Republicans who have patiently explained to me in recent weeks and months that, yes, it is insane that their party nominated Donald Trump to be their presidential candidate this year. But a lot of different Republicans who I know have said to me, listen, what do you expect? The American electorate has been driven mad. The country has been driven electorally insane by 8 years of Barack Obama. What did you expect us to do? Anecdotally, in my own life, I have had conversations with Republicans along those lines, not just in recent months and weeks, even in recent days. Well, PPP in this new national poll, they just called the question on that literally. So, right, leave Hillary Clinton out of it. Is it true that this whole Donald Trump mess that the Republican Party has gotten themselves into, frankly, it's all Obama's fault? Is it actually the repellent power of Barack Obama as president that has driven the electorate to Donald Trump? Well, you don't have to worry about that or idly discuss that without facts among your friends anymore, because now PPP has asked the question, quote, who would you rather was president, Barack Obama or Donald Trump? Turns out it is Barack Obama by a small landslide. Barack Obama by 9 points. So attention, all my Republican friends, you can blame President Obama for lots of things. You cannot blame him for Donald Trump. The country would much prefer Barack Obama to Donald Trump. It's just that Republican primary voters decided that out of 300 million Americans, this really was the man they most want to be the next president of the United States. That is on you, Republican Party. That is not Obama's fault. Of course, it's not going to be Obama versus Trump in this year's election. It's going to be Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. And in a Clinton versus Trump matchup, as opposite as those two candidates seem, as different as they are, the Trump and Clinton campaigns do have one shared challenge. And this new data that we have exclusively from PPP tonight shows that challenge very clearly. And it's basically this. Both candidates, both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, are really unfavorably viewed by most Americans. Both of them are. The proportion of registered voters nationwide who say they have an unfavorable opinion of Donald Trump in this new poll is 58%. For Hillary Clinton, it's 54%. And when unfavorable numbers are so bad for both candidates, maybe that's depressing. But you know what? It's also something else, because that is when you get cash money, jackpot polling data like this. This is truly amazing. Are you ready for what I believe is the greatest polling question yet of the 2016 race? Are you ready? I'm going to read it to you verbatim. This is exactly how it was asked for. For this nationwide poll of registered voters that we have got for the first time here tonight. Are you ready? Here it is. I am quoting directly. If the choices for president were Democrat Hillary Clinton, Republican Donald Trump, or a giant meteor hitting the Earth, which would you choose? The percentage of Americans who would choose Hillary Clinton in that circumstance is 43%. The percentage of Americans who would choose Donald Trump is only 38%. But the percentage of Americans who would prefer that a giant meteor would crash into the Earth instead of either Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton being president, that proportion is 13% of Americans, which probably means the Libertarian Party should run a giant meteor careening toward the Earth as their candidate this year, because that giant meteor barreling toward the Earth might have a better shot than Gary Johnson at making it into the general election debates. That's a really good number. 13. Only need 15 to get into the debates. My favorite part of this question, though, is actually the very last part of this result. A full 7% of Americans say, given the choice of Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, or a giant meteor hitting the Earth, 7% of Americans say they're not sure which they would prefer. Who's not sure about a giant meteor hitting the Earth? I mean, do you need to know more about the character of the giant meteor? Do you need to know exactly where it's going to hit? Do you need to know whether the meteor has been endorsed by the NRA? Is it pro-choice? 7% of Americans say they are just not prepared to make the call between the meteor and either candidate. And you know what? That may be as good an artifact as we will ever get from pollsters about the truly bamboozling effect of this year's remarkable presidential election, at least so far.